King Richard is the brand new HBO Max and simultaneous in theaters release based on a true story that stars Will Smith, Angelina Ellis, and John Bernthal, and tells the story of the father, Richard Williams, who's the father of both the highly acclaimed, obviously, Venus and Serena Williams. Is he too hard? Because from the day they were born, he made a plan they would be the greatest tennis players to ever play it. There were some hard things that he had to do. Sometimes he's a bit overbearing, but sometimes he was just protecting his kids. The film is 2 hours and 24 minutes and is PG-13. Welcome back to a brand new movie review here on Max Talks Movie. Sorry for the late review. We'll get to why in just a sec. But if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. That's the best way to support this channel at the moment. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, streaming platform reviews, movie rankings, box office breakdowns. You can hear also at the end of the video, you have my playlist on my right of all of my movie reviews, and also I'm going to leave a schedule to what my next couple of videos will be. Also, please comment down below, first of all, your thoughts on King Richard. If you've seen the film, tell me, do you like it? I would also like to know if you're going to watch this movie or not. Do you watch tennis? Are you a tennis fan? Or if you're not a tennis fan and you still enjoyed it, tell me why. I would love to know all those different sides of opinions in the comment section down below. And also, please like the video, the thumbs up button. Let's talk King Richard. So, as I said earlier, I did see this movie on Thursday night, but I was flying to Philadelphia, back to Philadelphia on my big Thanksgiving break. I'm now back here in Philadelphia for the next couple of weeks before I head back for LA for a month. So my next 2 or 3 weeks of reviews should be mostly here in Philadelphia. So quicker than usual. So King Richard is a film that I was absolutely dying for. Obviously, everyone's talking about Will Smith getting an Oscar, possible win for this performance. Now, I come from a very unique side of this, in my opinion, that I am a monster tennis fan. If you know me, I'm a monster sports fan, and tennis is one of my favorite sports that I do follow very closely on a week-to-week basis. So I've been watching Serena and Venus for the last 15 years, 16 years of my life. So I know exactly where this is coming from. I've heard all these stories about Richard Williams. But so this was definitely a big eye-opening experience for me watching the film, now understanding. And now, is this movie all about the truth? Probably you would say not, but I still think there's a lot of truth in there. As Venus and Serena Williams are both executive producers in the film, and Will Smith is a producer. So he's the one who really wanted to tell the story. But one of my biggest positives that I have to say, first of all, performances are great. I'll get to that in a sec, is that they don't just make King Richard Williams himself, make him a saint. He's a very controversial person, especially during the time of when this was actually happening, when Venus was like 14 years old, which is it's crazy that Venus is still currently playing on tour in her 40s, which you really don't see in tennis that long. But they don't make him a saint, which I was very worried about, especially with the true story and their kids basically as producers on the film. They do not make him this perfect dad who is pushing them all in the right directions. Every decision was the right decision. That is absolutely not the case with this film. And that's what I thought was really special about this performance and the character, is that he is a very flawed father. He's a very flawed person. He's a very, very flawed husband who, again, just wanted protected of his kids. And Will Smith is absolutely fantastic in the film. He is absolutely fantastic. This is definitely could be a career-defining performance for him. Might be his best role of his career. And the reason why I say this is because normally, when you see these type of charismatic, comedic-like actors like Will Smith, you really just see Will Smith and not the character. But really, 5 minutes into the film, not even that, probably the opening scene of the film, he's just Richard Williams. He's not Will Smith. And that's a big testament because he is one of the top, as people call it, movie star of his generation. He really is a big movie star, a big name, who really has struggled making great films in the last 10 to 15 years. But I think he's found his form. This is definitely one of my favorite performances of his. It's a really special performance that he doesn't just get the voice down. Obviously, he does of Richard Williams. You'll see that in the after credits. They show like the actual footage that the Williams sisters provide of seeing Richard Williams, and it really makes the performance even better. But as I said, he's a flawed person. Yes, he's trying to make his daughters into these great tennis players, and he really is looking out for them and protecting them at all costs. But at the same time, he's a bit too overbearing. There's sometimes that he goes way too far with the way he talks to people. And And the way he comes off is sometimes very rude. And that is clearly shown in the film. That's a really great job of the script and also the creative team of the movie is, yes, Richard Williams, obviously, somehow he's a very controversial person, and they really do show both sides of it. They show his greatness of being a great dad. They also show the overbearing, stubborn, not being there for his wife type husband. And that was also my favorite parts. Anjanine Ellis, who just got nominated for one of my favorite shows of last year, Lovecraft Country, which I have broke down every episode of that show. She plays Brandy Williams, I think is her name. That is, she's still alive to this day. Serena and Venus's mother. She is really fantastic and deserves to be nominated for Best Supporting Actress as well at the Oscars. She has a scene in a kitchen with Will Smith that is easily the strongest emotional scene, in my opinion, of the entire film. And what's great about her is that she is the one who keeps Richard trying to bring him down to earth. There's sometimes where he just goes too far, and she is there to really calm the storm. But also in this film, again, I'm not spoiling it. It's a true story. I'm not giving away every plot detail of the film. But Venus obviously is first. Venus is the older sister to Venus. So, and when they only can take one of the players to coach for free, and when Richard's really basically just with Venus, the mom is also the one really helping out Serena during all of this. And also, that's what they also really did nail, was the Venus and Serena relationship. Now, Venus is way more in the forefront of the film than Serena, which I don't really care about. I know a lot of people were like, I wanted to see more of Serena. Venus, this makes sense if you're telling this 2.5-hour movie. I think it was a limited series. We'd probably see a lot more of Serena, tell her more of a story. But this is really about Richard Williams. And Venus is the first one because she's a couple years older than Serena. But they do a great job of portraying how Venus is gaining all of this success. They went from practicing with each other to Venus having private stuff with coaches. And Serena kind of wanted to do her own thing. She was kind of tired of just watching. I mean, she loves her sister to death, but she wanted to make her own opportunity. And the way they show that is really, really well done. And I think they also give a relatable older to younger sibling relationship. I'm an older sibling to my younger brother. And there's a lot of people out there who are, if you're like me, who have just one other sibling, you can really relate to the relationship in the film between Serena and Venus, even in real life too, how close they were, but also the knowing that the older one gets to do everything first, and the younger one has to be patient. And I think they absolutely nailed that down. Also, John Bernthal, who plays the Williams sisters' second really main coach in the film behind Tony Goldwyn, is the first one. John Bernthal also deserves to get nominated this year for supporting actor. He's really fantastic as this coach. Is a very different John Bernthal performance that you've seen. He has a bit of an accent, but it really does show you a good job of what it's like being in the tennis world. And I think this film obviously does a lot for me, who's someone who's kind of in the tennis world every single week, watching tennis every single day, but seeing it in this big of a way, I think it really opens eyes of a lot of people on how really big the sport is, and the way coaches have a relationship with players, the way these academies are run and all these players work at the same academy at the same time. It's also a really expensive sport, probably the most expensive sport to work on. It's hundreds and thousands of dollars. And that's even just to make it on tour. We're not even saying become the greatest player like these two players are. So again, this is a really good movie that doesn't just, it's not very inside baseball. I think it just show a lot of people who are not familiar with the sport, doesn't like tennis, or even not even in the sport whatsoever, really understands the mega, I mean, it's a worldwide phenomenon, which is tennis. And the fact that two African-American ladies took it over around 25 years ago just shows you how powerful, how great Richard Williams was for putting these people in the right position, but also them really taking it. Again, that's actually one of my main criticisms. We'll get to my minor criticisms right now. My one minor criticism that I would have loved to see more is really the state of women's tennis. I think everyone kind of assumes, especially if you just joined tennis in the last 25 years, that this is what always with tennis has been, that the women are really seen as equals to men. But that really wasn't the case before the Williams sisters really took over. Yes, there's Chris Yever, Martina Navratilova, but the eyes of the public eye, it was always, especially me growing up, I was always like, men's tennis is better than women's tennis. But the more you watch it, sometimes now I would like to watch more women's tennis than men's tennis, depending on the match. So and that's what the Williams sisters have done. They're not just great female tennis players. They're not just great female athletes. They're great athletes. And the racism has really worked really well in here, especially when everyone keeps telling him, you're doing an incredible job. He said the way they talk to King Richard, they say incredible all the time, just because they're Black and what they come from. But he just thinks they're two great players getting their opportunity, and that's really the special part of the film. But as I said, the minor issue, I wish they gave, again, more detail on the state of women's tennis at the time, how big of a deal it was for just a female tennis players to be taking over the sport. We see most sports, basketball, even like softball and football, all these sports are seen way less. Not a lot of people watch the women's sports of those, but tennis is one of the rare sports out there, like soccer, that really at times, especially tennis, I think is above all the other sports, that sometimes it's very equal. They're seen as the same athletes. It's not just female to women's tennis. There's an equality to that. And I think that's what this film also points to. Another issue I had, there's one scene with Richard and Serena that was towards the last 20 minutes of the film that felt really scripted, really forced, and one of the biggest stereotypes in a sports movie that I felt wasn't real. If it was real, good for them, but there's a scene where King Richard's really talking to Serena on the court, and it really pulled me out of the movie for that split second. But overall, this is one of the best sports movies, and this is coming from a monster sports fan. This is one of the best sports movies I've seen in a really long time. That'll be all over the Oscar board, possibly, definitely Best Actor, hopefully supporting actress and supporting actor. Great performances across the board, but a really special story that shows the bad and the good of this father leaning into their kids being Serena and Venus Williams. So that's my thoughts. I'm going to give King Richard a 4.5 out of 5, a 92% for King Richard. I really, really love this movie from start to finish. 2.5 hours really flew by for me, and I can't wait to see how this movie does in awards season. So please like the video, subscribe, ring the bell. Also, let me know, did you see this in the big screen? I watched it on HBO Max. It did not do a great opening in theaters. Let me know, where did you check out this movie? Or you can check it out later when it comes down to award season. Are you waiting for that? Let me know in the comment section down below. Subscribe, ring the bell. Upcoming videos here. I have to catch up on a lot of stuff. Netflix original film of the week was Bruised. I'm going to watch that as soon as possible and review that for you guys here on the channel. I'm also, Hawkeye reviews are now every single Wednesday. Spoiler breakdowns of the episode. Box Office Breakdown show will be on Monday. This is a huge week. And also, we're heading towards the end of November. So we're going to get a November ranking, which is my biggest monthly movie ranking of the entire year. I've seen up to already like 13, 14 movies in November. Huge month of films. So I can't wait to break it down to you, and I'll see you guys then.